Hello, I'm Jason Lightoller from Woodside, and this morning I'm going to show you how to repair a hole that has formed on a pocket on a pair of jeans. You can of course use this repair for a pair of trousers, a skirt, a dress, anything that has actually been breached. This happens to be the front pocket, but of course this repair pertains to any pocket that has been breached. The side, the back, the middle, it doesn't particularly matter. Now, if this hole has been formed in an area here, right in the corner, then the simplest thing to do would be just to cut across there and just seal the edge. But we can't do that in this particular case as the hole is too high up. And if we cut across there, we would lose far too much of the pocket and the contents would spill out. So we have to think of another alternative. But first things first, what we need to do is iron out all this area of crease here so we have a nice flat surface to work on. So using some steam, I've pressed the area of this pocket here, and now I'm going to mark a cutting line, and it's going to go diagonally from here to here, just above this breach where the pocket is. Probably about 1/2 centimetre, so 5 millimeters, and we're going to go diagonally because we're going to reform this area here. And I'm going to get the straight edge rule, and right where the undamaged area is, I'm going to put the edge there, and we'll go right across like that. And now I'm going to take the shears and just cut directly across on that line. And this piece that's left, what I'm going to do is use this to form a new pattern piece. So you need to find a piece of material that is similar in colour but very close in weight to the original pocket. It is essential that it is pre-shrunk. If it isn't and you attach it and it hasn't been shrunk, then when the garment is washed, the pocket will wrinkle up and it will very likely tear when there's contents added to it and you're back to square one. What I've done here is I've made a 2 centimetre margin and I'm going to cut around that. This pocket was actually made, the original pocket was made on the fold. I'm not going to do that, and I'll explain why as we go along. Now, as you can see, the pocket lining has been breached in only 1/2 of the lining, the front part here. The back part is undamaged. Now, it wouldn't be advisable to only make 1/2 of the new bag. If you're going to actually repair a pocket and make a new bag, you make 2 new halves at the bottom. The reason being is that you will not have an exact weight of both pieces of material. So what I'm going to do now is cut around this area here, and I'm going to do that off camera. So we're back at the cut edge of the pocket, and what we're going to do now is to join the front and back sections of the pocket to the new cut edge of the lining. I've opened up 2 centimeters from here to here, and I've made an incision at the folded edge from there to there, and that is so we can align and actually have a seam allowance, because what we're going to do is put right sides together, so the inside of the pocket is the right side and the inside of the new lining is the right side. We're going to put that together there, and the other piece is going to go like that. So we're going to do that, and I'll show you in more detail how we do that at the machine. So that is how the pocket will be formed. So I've clipped the new lining pieces in place on both edges of the pocket, and we're going to use a 2 centimetre allowance and machine from here to here, and we're going to do that on both sides. Now remember that this pocket has been cut on the cross grain, on the bias grain, so there's a lot of stretch in it, so be careful when you're machining it because you don't want it to go out of shape. So we're at the sewing machine now, and we're going to use the 2 centimetre allowance to get these 2 edges sewn up. It isn't essential to go back, it's just something that you can do to give it a bit of extra reinforcement. You only need to do that for 2 or 3 stitches and go all the way down until you get to the other end. Make sure that you don't get the other side of the pocket trapped into the stitch line. And of course you need to remove the clips as you go. Keeping the edges aligned. And now we're going to do the same for the other side. So now we've got to the end of both edges, I'm going to show you the next step. So the replacement pocket edges have been joined. This is the front part, this is the back part, and on the inside, this is what it looks like. That's why it's important to have the raw edges on the outside. But we can't leave it like that. We have to see to these raw edges here. Now you can use any method you like. You can use a zigzag stitch to secure these edges down. You can use what some domestic machines call an overcast stitch, but it gives it extra strength if you actually put the zigzag stitches or overcast stitches flat down and not actually have it loose like that. If you don't have a machine that does a swing stitch, you can just turn the edges in and go flat down like that. The choice is yours, but it's important not to leave it open and loose like this. So what I'm going to do is just to keep this edge flat down, and I'm going to go from there to there using an overcast stitch. So the machine is set for an overcast stitch. I've got it on the maximum stitch width, and we're going to go from here all the way down on both edges of the pocket. I'm going to do the other side, and I'm going to do that off camera. So I've given this a thorough shot of steam here, and the reason that I chose, I'm just going to zoom in, the reason that I chose this overcasting stitch here along this edge to secure this edge down, if I had just turned and used a flat running stitch to secure this edge there, it would have created quite a lot of bulk. So in order to avoid that, I used this overcasting stitch, but as I said, you could use a zigzag, you could use anything you wanted to really, the choice is yours. So I'm going to zoom back out. Now what I'm going to do is just trim these edges, and then we'll complete the bottom of the bag. So I have trimmed everything in line here. What I'm going to do now is start at the original fold line of this pocket bag here, but I'm going to begin 2 centimeters up, because what I'm going to do is run in from this fold line all the way round, but this time I'm going to be using a slightly less seam allowance, so perhaps 1.5 centimeters. I'm going to go all the way round and join it up to the original stitch line here. Then I'm going to finish off the edges, and again you can use whatever method you like. You can use a zigzag, an overlock, a cast off stitch, whatever one you want to use, and I'll show you that on camera. So we're back at the sewing machine. I've got the needle positioned directly on the very edge of this fabric fold here on the original pocket bag, and we're going to start 2 centimeters above where I made that incision where the original seam line was. And what we're going to do, we're going to run in and go all the way around as I just showed you. And it's important to back tack at this stage. So run in and keep your seam allowance. I've got the stitch length set at 2.5. And just keep going. You don't need to go fast. No one is having a race here. And go all the way round. And join up. You join up to the original seam line there. When you meet the original seam line, make sure you extend about 1 centimeter into it. And now we're going to just trim around here, and we are going to finish off the raw edge. So this is the new pocket bag. I'm just going to zoom in, so just to show you that what I did is I went around the raw edge of the pocket bag here using the same overcasting stitch that I used, the stretch overcast stitch, on the seam line here. This repair is now complete, and it's a very simple repair. However, it would have cost a fortune to do in the dry cleaners.